pretty sure that most everybody is aware by now of the things that have transpired this week in terms of the killings of the cops and the killings by cops of people that they were taking into custody. But the country is coming to a point now where it is starting to is increasingly reap the benefits or reap the consequences of its actions. We are a people who have, for the most part, moved away from God, and we've sought to have men lead us. And we voted for these men or women, whatever the case may be, mankind. And now we are, because we have turned our back on God and looking to man to lead us in an ungodly way with their philosophies, their way of life, their rules, we are now coming to this point where not only are the leaders godless and not even following the laws of God, but they're not following their own rules. And recently, this week, the presumptive candidate for the Democrat Party, Hillary Clinton, was not going to be pursued after the FBI went and looked at everything she'd done and even admitted that the things she had done were not, and things she had said were not truthful. And it's not my intent to get through here and prove that all the things that she's done are wrong, because we're a nonpartisan crowd. We do not believe Democrat or Republican is the best way to lead the country, but God is. But nonetheless, she's not even subject to the rules of the land, and she continues to get away with it. And of course, she's not the only one. But there's this, I think, a filtering down too. Whenever you realize that your leaders do not have character, when they're not godly people, and whenever they are breaking the laws of the land as they wish, that the people feel that they can do that, whether they are part of the government or those that are under the government. So it's gotten crazy now. We looked at some of the videos and the use of deadly force by cops on the citizens of the country. You're going, okay, well, we're not supposed to kill, and it seems like it's becoming more rampant and more frequent, the number of times that cops are killing for traffic stops and things like this. So it seems to be retaliatory, plus it's racial, definitely the retaliation by, again, it was black men that were seeking to kill white people, and specifically white cops. But again, this is all a result of moving away from God and leaving God, and the curses that are to follow. Deuteronomy 28 is the blessings and cursings chapter, and around verse 15 it says, okay, here are the cursings that are going to happen upon you if you do not follow my way of life. If you do not do these things are going to happen. In fact, if you want, we can turn there, Deuteronomy 28, and we'll begin in verse 15. The first part of the chapter tells you, okay, if you do as I command, I will bless you, I'll be with you, and things will go well for you. And then the converse is true, beginning in verse 15. We'll just read a couple verses and see if these things are now transpiring in our country. And if they are, it is because we're leaving the commands of God. And of course, people think that's a silly notion, a silly idea. But of course, they have not thought it all the way through. But Deuteronomy 28:15 says, but it shall come to pass, if you do not obey the voice of the Lord your God to observe carefully all his commandments and his statutes, which I command you today, that all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. This is what happens when we are lawless, when we do not follow the laws that God has given to us to live by. Notice, we'll read a few of them. It says, cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the country. In other words, there's no getting away from this. It doesn't matter where you are. If you think that because you're in the city and you're around a lot of other people, or whatever protections that you believe are there, you're not going to be immune to what's coming. And if you think you're in the country that you can get away from everybody, you can live off the land, part of an agrarian society, that you'll be safe, then again, you're mistaken. God is saying you'll be cursed everywhere. You will not escape it because you are being ungodly. And it goes on and says, cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body, the produce of your land, the increase of your cattle, and the offspring of your flock. So, again, the food that you're able to produce is not going to produce as abundantly. And again, we've begun to see some of these things in a whole bunch of different ways that I won't even begin to elaborate on extensively. But we see that, again, and it talks about this even further, about droughts and famines that are coming. And the land is not going to yield. We will not produce. This has been, again, the breadbasket down, I think they specifically refer to the South as being the breadbasket of the U.S. because it was so fertile. But it doesn't matter, where you are or how things were. This is the way that things are going to be. And cursed you shall be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. So again, it's saying whether privately or publicly, it brings to mind people who believe that they're going to save themselves. They're going to have their own little bomb shelter. They're going to have their own little store of storage of goods where they're going to keep all this stuff, and they're going to have 3 years so they can make it through all the bad times. And if anybody knows about it or anybody wants their stuff, they're going to have guns. And it starts making me wonder then, why do you have guns? I mean, you plan to kill somebody and break the 6th commandment? Well, I think these people are, and they're going to put their lives in, above the law of God. And again, they are not going to be able to do that. It's not going to happen, whether you stay in or whether you go out. And right now, what do you think the people in Dallas are doing? They don't feel like they can go out, and they can't to a large degree because there are certain parts of the city that are closed down. And I think they closed down part of D.C. yesterday or the day before because of another threat. And these things continue to happen around the country. And so when he's saying you can't go out and you can't go in, it's going to be nowhere to go. That you're going to feel like you're safe, like this is a country that you can live in, like God has blessed it, because he hasn't. It's gone the other direction. And I would say that the events of this past week, of even the past day or two, have really brought that to the fore at how quickly things can get out of control, and how quickly and how much they are already out of control. So again, it's up to us to continue to set the example, to be the way that we're supposed to be, to follow the law of God, to be a witness to the rest of the world, to continue in spite of all the blessings that we've had for such a long time, to live godly ways, especially as times get more difficult.